Sid Mohasseb, welcome to the show.
Pleasure to be with you, Mark.
Sid, really excited to have you here. You're a university professor over at USC and a venture capital investor. I have to talk to you about AI and its impact on the workforce. I've seen estimates that AI is going to replace 40% of the workforce. And through reading what you've done, you've been a big fan of change. You've seen a lot of change. How is AI not the end of the world as we know it?
How is AI not the end of the world as we know it? AI is the end of the world as we know it, except that what we know is not what we think is, it's not necessarily worse than what we have.
Why should I not be terrified, though? If we're looking at replacing 40% of the workforce, like that's my job, that's my career, that's my industry, that should be terrifying, no?
When people came up with a knife, we had to change the way we eat, and our teeth was structurally different. Well, if you move forward to something more tangible, when we had the Industrial Revolution, there was quite a bit of change in people's job. When cars came out, people were upright. Oh, all these people who are riding the horses and carriages, and the people who clean the poops, there were 5,000 of them in New York City alone. Well, what are they going to do? Well, guess what? They did something. It didn't happen because we were willing to evolve. Sometimes with a push, sometimes with the facts that we're faced. The fact is, if I have a calculator and I can do things faster, should I not do it? Because then what am I going to do? I'm the guy who writes things and adds things up, and what am I going to do without it? AI isn't a massive calculator that releases this massive tax that's on our brain, that we have to do things manually and do all this stuff because, hey, if it can be done, let it be done. If you have money and you can have somebody clean your house, you'll have somebody clean your house. Let somebody clean your mind.
And listen, I'm with you there. But to me, AI is very different from all these historical changes that we've seen. Historically, we've seen robots replace manufacturing jobs, replacing manual labor jobs, but AI replaces knowledge jobs. You've got all of Hollywood is on strike right now because they're terrified that AI is going to take their writing away. There's legal fields where...
And the key word is terrified that they're not going to be doing the same thing. We, as human beings, are addicted to the sameness of what we have. It is a fact. We like the continuity of this works this way. And by the way, the minute they say, hey, we're going to give you a piece of the action of recurring income, they're going to say, hey, that's fine. That's all. It's all about money. It's not about my change. It's not about the... Here's a fact. The fact is that if they are good writers and creative people, and not them, we as human beings, if we can bet our creative, I believe the next evolution is in how we can be innovative and creative. AI is all about the past. It's creating using machine learning of the data from the past and applying it to the future in the sameness of things, repetitive works that can be done. If we can't be more creative in our future, shame on us. There's a bigger problem we have. Now, I understand. By the way, 10 years ago, this whole thing was, AI has been around for about 50, 60 years. It's not new. It's just when ChatGPT came, the adoption rate was high, and guess what? It's something that media can cover, and it's, oh, look at this, it's horrible, it's terrible, it's the economic impact of AI is somewhere around $13-14 trillion a year, starting in 2030. They're $13 to $14 trillion a year. Let me put that in context for you. That is about 10 times the economy of Russia. Okay? That is about 1.4 billion in China working in a year to produce that much economic impact. 1.4 billion people. Okay? It's 3 times the size of India, India's economy. It is massive. So this wave cannot be stopped. The economic impact that will have is massive. Now, the number is not 40%. 40% is displaced. That means it's impacting it, but it's not eliminating it. There are about 5 billion jobs in the world. Somewhere around 800 million are going to be impacted. 100 million are going to be completely gone. 150 million. Those 100 million are really, they used to think that these are factory workers, so nobody cared. This 5 years ago, nobody talked about, oh, robots are doing this. Guess what? Now that it's impacting the knowledge workers, it's a big deal.
It's a big deal. All the people are saying, we'll learn to code. You're the ones who are going to be replaced with this because I can use ChatGPT to write code. I don't know how to write code, but I can go from being very much a beginner to being dangerous with coding just because I can use these tools. It kind of like cuts out the middleman.
So here, Mark, let me tell you, you mentioned that I teach. In one of my classes, I have a project that uses lots of analytics and people have to code. And I teach both in engineering school and business school. So I told them this semester, you could use whatever you want. I don't care about your coding ability. Go use ChatGPT. I'm not afraid. What matters is, do you get to the right kind of answer?
Sure.
That has business impact. Can you get to a bet? Because when you get out there, when you go to the workforce, they are not limited to what tools they use. In schools, they say you use this, or you use this, and you're coding this. In real world, the competition defines what happens. Competition says you got to use whatever you can to win the game. You got to be creative. You got to be innovative. You got to move fast. It's about comprehension of data and applications. So if you could get to comprehension faster, God bless. Now, the key is that a lot of this ChatGPT stuff, let me tell you a fun story, which gives us why 61% of people are afraid of AI. So I was having a conversation with a friend. She's very smart. She has a master's degree in engineering and a very smart woman. And she talked about the AI and she said, I can't trust this AI because, it gives you wrong answers. I said, give me an example. She says, well, when you go to a doctor, the doctor, does diagnostics and so forth and basically tells you you're sick with this or that and that and that. I said, okay. But AI can do a better job because the doctor has read those 20 books 50 years ago, 30 years ago, 20 years ago, and there's numerous things. So if you feed that to a thing that has all that information, you say, this is all my, I'm not saying replace the doctor. I'm saying the diagnostic parts is much easier because there's all this information that she says, no. When I go to Google and I give it my symptoms, it gives me the wrong information. We shouldn't compare Google to what we're talking about. It's just, I'm very afraid because ChatGPT doesn't write ChatGPT is not the answer to all ills of society. That's not what AI is. It's like, it's crazy.
Of course, the WebMD, listen, y'all, see a doctor. WebMD is not your friend. But what I see happening is, I'll give you, speaking of the medical field, there's studies that show that radiologists miss diagnoses, right? They're looking at the x-rays and they miss things. AI is 50% more effective already at finding cancerous tumor cells, right? So what I see happening is, if you're a radiologist and you're not using these technologies, you're just being negligent. You shouldn't. You need to be using these. So people that aren't using it.
But what am I going to do with my job, Mark? If I replace this, all of it can be done by a guy. So what am I going to do with it?
Well, this is what's going to happen. People are going to go to medical school. They're going to go to law school. They're going to get out. And there's not going to be enough jobs to go around because the top attorneys, the top medical professionals are going to be using AI. And where there might have been 1,000 jobs, now there's 10.
Mark, let's not go to the attorney side. it's okay to have this in
That's
there.
right.
That's not the
Fair.
problem. In my book, it's perfectly fine. Let's get them to be productive with something. Anyway, but here's the thing. I wrote a book called The Caterpillar's Edge. I think I have a copy of it in the back. I think the one that you see that with the butterfly, that's the Chinese version that was translated. The one to the right, I don't know if you see it or not. But this is 2017 when I wrote this book. The last chapter is called 2-Minute Warning. This is 7 years ago. Called 2-Minute Warning. It's about AI. And I say, hey, look what's going on. This is happening. It's coming. This is the reasoning. This is why. Is it going to really impact your life? Of course, there's, all the logics of what's going to happen. But I give you one example from there, and I want you to give me the answer. With quantum computing, we can process something that could be done in 47 years, a complex problem, in less than a second. Okay?
Okay.
So we can do research on drugs significantly faster. Okay? Now, we can diagnose exactly what we do, cancer a lot earlier because we have better tools, we have identification. Shouldn't we not do it because all these people who work at the hospitals and who manufacture these equipments and who do these drugs, we should not do it because they're going to be out of a job? Should we not do it?
No, I mean, it's going to create
Because we're afraid that they're out of, we're dying. There's a better world out there that we could get to. Should we just accept sameness and incompetence? Would you do that in your life? Why are we doing it in humanity's life? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Now, is it impactful? You bet it is. Anything good is impactful. Any change will provide you with options to grow. If you want to push back against it, God bless, you could do it. If you embrace it, then you realize the options that are ahead of you and you can exercise and not be better just for yourself, but for your kids and for the next generation. It's not if I make $60 or $20.70 an hour. It's what's ahead for my kid. Now, here's the problem. I wrote an article about this. We're pushing back in China, in Hong Kong. They're teaching ChatGPT and AI and the ethics of AI from the 7th grade. We are passing bills that we should not teach AI in schools. Is that right? Because we're afraid? Because some politicians are following the masses of 61% are afraid. So let me go put this thing in and everybody is going to love me and put me back on the saddle again for next term. So these are wrong decisions. These are critically wrong decisions being made.
Well, it's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. I was out in the...
That's what it is. People are afraid, Mark. The same person who is pushing back about, my job and why is it that I'm a writer's guild and they're going to replace me. They're going to say, wait a minute, they're going to impact my kid who's going to be a writer, and therefore let's push back. Let's not teach him. Let's not.
But we're in a global market. If you're not competitive on a global scale, well, you're not competitive on a global scale, and that decreases the quality of living for your entire country and the entire world, quite frankly.
So let me give you the statistics from about 5 years ago. I used to teach in China before COVID. I'll go there once a month and I'll teach for universities and stuff. So I had a team do some research for me. And here's what they found. This is interesting. There are 2,500 scientific papers about, this is 5 years ago, about AI gets published every year by US. 2,500. Scientific papers are the ones that, they get approved by other professors and there's a committee and a this and a that, and they say, yeah, this is a good paper. It's not like randomly, putting a blog on it. So 2,500 scientific papers around AI is done by US. The rest of the world, Europe and so forth, excluding China, does another 2,500. Okay? China does 10,000.
Whoa.
Okay. Now, if you talk to some of the folks and academics and people in Silicon Valley, they say, oh, they're manipulating the numbers. Okay, guess what? Half of it is nonsense. Okay, they do 5,000. 75% of it is complete BS. They're doing as many as we are.
So why is that? Is it that they just understand that this is the future and they want to get this competitive advantage? Like,
that's exactly right. They have these 5-year plans, and about 5-7 years ago they came. So this is interesting. From 1978 to I believe 2008, they brought 800 million people out of poverty. That's a massive accomplishment. 800 million people. That's almost 3 times the size of the U.S.
Sure. China has 1.4 billion total, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. 1.4 billion total. Now, here's the thing. I'm not a pro-China. When I say that, people say, oh, you're a China. I'm not. I'm saying you got to know your competition. If you don't know your competition, you're a fool. You want to win, you got to know what the competition does. Why is it doing that? What direction it's going? It's not just, hey, we get a little bit of a thing. I'm going to put a tariff on you. I'm going to send another 1,700 planes to bomb the hell out. It's not working. So here's the thing. The thing is, about 8-10 years ago, they came out with this 5-year plan. And they said, we're going to move from a labor economy to a technology economy. We're not going to be the labor force of the world. We're going to be the technology provider of the world. Every university, there have 20 universities that they've started to structure just like Stanford, with early stage companies around them. And they look at data and use of data completely different than what we are. Very different. Now, you want to talk about AI? Let's talk about data, because if you're building a building, you need concrete, you need bricks, you need, right? If you're building an AI machine, you need data.
Sure.
Period.
Sure.
There's nothing else. That's the main ingredient. I don't care if you have the smartest people on the face of the earth. If you don't have data, if you don't have concrete or bricks, you can't build a building. That's simple.
Sure. Which is why these social media platforms are so important, because we are the product. We're just feeding it with data.
I say we are data factories, sure. Each one of us. Now, by I think 2030 or so, there's going to be 5 times, 6 times more than the population of the world in sensors that are IoT, Internet of Things that are connected to things. Everything is generating a data from your HVAC to your sprinklers to your phone, you name it, to factories. Everything is this is a massive amount of data that's being generated. Right now, in Japan, 100 factories have agreed to share data together. Can you imagine we doing that?
It seems like you'd be giving away your best secrets for free, and we don't want to do that, do we?
So here's the thing. We have to figure out how we do this as opposed to pushing back. We in US are very individual driven. We believe in the individual power, which I do too, by the way. But there is a power in sharing properly in terms of gaining collectively. When we go to war, all the soldiers stand together.
Sure.
They're not each going to one hill. We stand. This is a different kind of war. And the material, the weapons is our data. We have to realize that, and we have to look at it. Now, here's the thing that we are fascinated with: privacy. Do I care about privacy? Absolutely, I care about privacy. I'm a fool if I don't care about privacy. But here's our problem. The privacy is not the issue. Prosecution is the issue. We are so afraid about privacy because everybody else is using our data to go into our bank, and nobody has done anything with them. They're captured and released the next day. So they do it again. So why are we pushing everybody to build walls all around us with this and that and that and that because somebody else is... Let's go after the guys that are bad guys.
Well, it's not always obvious who the bad guys are. Right?
We have the tools to be able to block them. If you get 6 of them and immediately disconnect them, they can't have a bank account. They have to go to jail. You do 50 of them, the 51st one won't do it.
Well, fair, but that's a really scary thing too, right? You look at like what's happening in our politics in the United States right now. You got Trump who's under 4 indictments now. Who knows what's going to happen with Biden and what's going on with his kid and everything like that. And you talk about it's scary to me if we live in this world where everyone's walking on eggshells. Like if you step over this, your bank account is banned.
Exactly
you can't do commerce. That's a scary prospect. Also,
Mark, that's exactly what I'm saying. We are so scared about our private. We have become each policeman trying to figure out that nobody can. Man, it's why are we afraid of the Googles of the world to use our data? Man, pay for my data. Go use it. It's okay.
And I
pay for it.
Listen, I'm with you. Like I appreciate my privacy, but I also like Google Maps telling me the fastest way to get to my destination. Right?
Correct. So now you got to the exchange argument that I'm saying. You're okay with you appreciate your privacy, but if I give you something in return for your privacy, this is the exchange. You're okay. When I don't give you anything for your privacy, then you're not okay. Right? You Google, and they know that this is you. You Google this word, that means whatever, and then you know that in 10 minutes, you're going to start seeing ads about whatever that you just Googled. You're going to see it on Facebook. You're going to see it everywhere. It's a fact. But you're okay because the exchange is right. In 8 seconds, they give you something, and that's valuable to you. It's not the ultimate answer, but it's close enough. You're willing to exchange that. Our problem is not privacy. Our problem is that we don't get anything in exchange where you violate our privacy. Our problem is that 6 or 7 or 10 companies are controlling this data that we have.
That's a problem.
Our problem is that they don't give us in exchange the value of my data. Let's get my data, let's value it, let's use it to build AI machines that's going to go much further, and we all are going to be hunky-dory.
Fair. And, the social media platforms are doing this, saying, hey, if you post on our platform, we'll give you a carrot. We'll give you a carrot. And I get that. That's a short-term incentive. Love that. Long-term, though, what are they going to do with our data, with our information, with our browsing history?
My point is, now with NFTs and all of these, tokens, I can know exactly where my data is being used. If you're selling it, give me a penny every time you sell it to somebody. Give me 2 pennies. Give me a dime. Give me whatever. If I'm young and my data is more valuable than somebody like Sid, who is an old fart and they can't buy anything, versus, okay, that data is more valuable than me. It's like a real estate property. This one is more valuable than that. It's okay.
So what do you think? I want to go back just a little bit because I think it's interesting. It's an interesting argument, but what concerns me is the way that our universities are structured right now. Going to school, hey kids, don't use, we've all seen those viral videos of the professor going nuts because everyone's using ChatGPT. But I'm with you.
Absolutely.
I feel like if you're not using AI, if you're not teaching AI in the classroom, you're basically manufacturing useless people. So
do you know why that guy is afraid of using ChatGPT?
Is he the old man on the porch saying, get off my lawn? You tell me.
No, he only knows how to do. He has built that structure for that course for 10 years. He teaches this thing. He knows this thing. He is afraid. It's the same argument as the writers. It's the exact same thing. Yeah. He's comfortable with this. If something else disturbs us, then what does he do? He has to change the class. He has to educate himself. How does this damn thing work? Why do I have it? Oh, then I'm useless. My class is useless.
Yeah.
And my class is useless. I am useless.
Well, we're going to see that at scale. That's, I'm a big proponent against universal basic income. When I start to think about this, when I heard Andrew Yang speaking to Rogan about it, I was like, okay, I'm starting to see it. The problem is, and I'm getting kind of way off topic here, is having the correct incentive structures in place so that people are making the correct moves ahead. Like, sure, we want to help the dispossessed, the people that aren't able, or maybe they're not able to learn the new technology for whatever reason. They're not able to compete against that 22-year-old Malaysian kid who's just better at writing now because of these tools. But how do we weigh having a good incentive structure to say, hey, you got to learn because this is the new world. You got to learn because If you don't, you're competing on a global workforce. I just wonder how that's going to get implemented.
So, Mark, let me ask you. Before AI, was everybody Einstein?
Oh, certainly not. Certainly not.
No. So guess what? Before calculators, where everybody math was? No. So we're going to have jobs that have to do with other things, and there are going to be people who would do those jobs, and some people are going to evolve, and they're going to learn, and they're going to be, it's okay. We are being clickbaited on the TV, because it sells. If we embrace it and we figure out what to do and how, if you use the AI in your business, you're significantly better off. It's actually better for consumers when you do, for example, it's better.
For sure.
I can solve your problem on a customer service call before you even know you have a problem.
Yeah, I recorded a YouTube video, I don't know, a few months ago. I said, in 5 years, you're going to be begging to speak to a robot. You'd be like, no humans, please. Just give me the AI. It knows me. It knows my history. It knows my problem. It knows what I bought, the date. And it's just going to be so much easier.
And not only it knows what you bought or what you did, it has seen 10,000 issues exactly like you in the environment that you are, and it has solved that problem, as opposed to some guy who has no idea what he's doing.
100%.
So
The thing, though, that really, and I hate to use the word fear, but the thing that's concerning, the thing that's alarming, the thing that I think we need to be looking at when it comes to this privacy talk is the monopolization of power. How do we distribute the power so it's not just one or two or three companies or one?
God bless you for that. I'll tell you my problem. You said you've seen my articles and so forth. I did one. I don't know. It was on Hill, on Fox, somewhere. I do a lot of articles. On lots of different platforms. I don't remember. And my argument was this. Here's what we are saying, that we care about this AI regulation and we got to do something and so forth. Now, we've put, again, I'm apolitical. Everybody who knows me says, this is interesting. When I talk, the ones who are Democrat, they tell me that I'm a Republican. The ones who are the Republicans, they tell me I'm a Democrat. I know that I'm walking, I'm saying it the way it is. Here's the thing. We've got Kamala Harris, who has absolutely no idea what AI is. The AI czar.
Yeah.
Okay. So you argue, well, maybe the president of IBM doesn't know how to assemble okay, I buy that. Then she goes out, and they had a meeting recently, and she's recruited Elon Musk, the guy, Sam Altman, my OpenAI, the head of Microsoft, and this is the universe that they are gaining information from. Okay? So we've got the foxes in the hen house. We're talking about how do we do this. Okay? So that's one. Two, if you look at it from the flip side, there was a month ago, 2 months ago, I don't remember exactly the date, after the ChatGPT had come and people were talking about privacy and this and that, the Congress and the Senate, they had a bunch of these inquiries, and they brought in Sam Altman, who was the CEO of OpenAI. They created you should go listen to this and see how naive their questions are. Their questions are so naive. None of these guys have any idea what the consequences, what the situation is. This is not a political issue, and it's not just the privacy issue. What privacy sells, it's an economic issue for our country. It's a social issue. It's a restructuring of the power issue. It's a big deal, but that doesn't sell. Nobody can go up there and say, hey, China did 10,000, academic papers and we did 25. That guy wouldn't get elected again. Because, you're for China. No, this is a fact.
This
is a fact. So we are so fast. There's $147 million put aside for this committee. I'm not sure who they're paying with $147 million, because all those guys are billionaires. They don't need the money. I'm a little confused. But hey, let's say 147, priority number one, preserving privacy. Okay, not sharing data. Who has the data? Those 6 companies. Who gets the power? Those 6 companies. Who's left out? The rest of us. It ain't right, but it is the way it is. And that's what creates the fear, to be honest with you.
It's definitely going to require, I believe, brave people speaking up, actually having these difficult conversations. That's really what, I'm trying to do here on the After Hours Entrepreneur, to look at AI, this disruptive technology. I'll definitely have a link below to Sid's newsletter. You've got to check that out. It's sidmohasseb.com. Great place to find more information on what Sid's doing. And Sid, I just appreciate you kind of breaking down some of these majorly super important topics that we need to be thinking about as students of the world.
Thanks for having me, Mark. The key thing that I just want to make sure that maybe a few people on your audience I've touched and I've provoked. There is a bigger life out there. Don't be afraid of the change. If there was no change, Mark, imagine there was a world that every day was 72 degrees, every day was spring, every day was exactly the same. You were doing whatever you're doing. You're doing this interview with me. This is what you would be doing for the rest of your life because there's no change. If you were having McDonald's for lunch, that's what you're going to have for the rest of your lunch. That's what you have. If you have a 5-year-old kid, he or she will never go to school, will never be married, will never give you any grandchildren. Change is our best friend. It's not our enemy. It's our best friend. It's the only friend that gives us options. The only friend that gives us options in life is change.
Well,
and we are dead centered against it.
I'm 100% on board with change, because if you're not changing and adapting now, you're setting yourself up for failure. The world is moving very quickly. You need to be adopting.
So the choice is not AI. The choice is not theirs. The choice is yours. It's mine. It's everybody's.
I heard this.
This is what I like everybody to think about. Get your cousin, get your second cousin, sit him down and say, "You idiot. This is not a bad thing. We have to embrace it. Let's go to a class. Let's teach something. Let's think of you have your own, after hour. Let's be entrepreneurs. Let's create new things. This is the best time to create new things.
100%.
This right now is the best time.
I'm reading.
Let's imagine. Let's embrace what's ahead of us and not be afraid.
I'm reading Blue Ocean Strategy, the Blue Ocean Strategy book. And that's what it's about. It's about, hey, everyone's doing it this way. How can I be different? And I don't think there's been a time in the history of the world where there's a better time to find your blue ocean strategy. I think this is the time.
This is the time.
This time. So I also heard, I had to insert this also, Sid. I thought this was so good. I heard this a few days ago, that people resist change because we perceive it as being too risky. But the biggest risk is just staying where you're at and not moving.
First of all, I've got books and articles a lot about entrepreneurship. So that's my, some people call me entrepreneur philosopher because I philosophize about entrepreneurship. I'll say it's all in your mind, right? Entrepreneurship is not about taking risks. It's not about managing risks. It's about navigating risks. Good entrepreneurs are not gamblers in Las Vegas that take risk for no reason. They have calculated that thing. They're navigating around things that's happening around them, and that's who they are. It's nonsense that, you shouldn't take any risks. Entrepreneurs are risk takers. No, entrepreneurs are not risk takers. They're actually, I sold the company to KPMG a long time ago. The head of their risk came to me and said, "Sid, you're an entrepreneur and a risk taker. We are a company that's been around for hundreds of years and we're not risk takers." I said, when we do a decision, and he was the head of risk and a senior partner. I said, "Do you write your check for $1 million to do something?" He said, "No, the firm does." I said, "I do."
Right.
I bet you, because that's going to change my life. That's not going to change your life when you make a decision. I am a lot more careful about taking risks that you will ever be.
Great point. Great point. You're the one cutting the checks. You're definitely aware of those risks. Sid Mohasseb, thanks for joining the After Hours Entrepreneur today.
Pleasure to be with you, Mark. All the best.